The Danish Social Liberal Party is a social liberal political party in Denmark. The party is a member of Liberal International and the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats for Europe. Origin: the party was founded in 1905 as a split from the Liberal Venstre Reform Party. The initial impetus was the expulsion of Venstre's anti-militarist wing from the party in January 1905. The expelled members held a founding conference for the new party in Odense on the 21st of May 1905. In addition to the differences over military spending, the Social Liberals also took a more positive view than Venstre towards measures that aimed to reduce social inequality. The party also became the political leg of the cultural radical movement. The party was cautiously open to aspects of the welfare state, and also advocated reforms to improve the position of tenant farmers, an important early group of supporters. The party's social liberal ideals are said to have been inspired by the political economists Henry George and John Stuart Mill. The literal translation "radical left" is nowadays somewhat misleading, as the party is traditionally described as being in the center of the left-right political scale. The use of the word for left in the name of the former parent party Venstre and the Norwegian party Venstre is meant to refer to liberalism and not left-wing politics. Venstre originally was to the left of the conservative and aristocratic right. Electoral record: the party president is Claus Fransen and it has 17 members of parliament. The party's political leader is Morten Østergaard. The party performed well at the 2005 elections. It came out with 9.2% of the popular vote and 17 seats in parliament, a gain of 8 seats. In the 2007 elections, the party share of the popular vote fell to 5.1% and it lost 8 seats, leaving it a total of 9. In the subsequent 2011 elections, the party's support rose to 9.5%, and it regained 8 seats to resume a total of 17. Around 2005, the party was inspired by Richard Florida's book The Rise of the Creative Class. The party also released their own book political program called Det Kreative Danmark. Current issues high on the agenda for the party are strong opposition to the tight immigration policies of the former Liberal Conservative government, particularly the 24-year rule, opposition to the educational policies of the former Liberal Conservative government, which according to the party stresses centralization, nationalized testing and old-fashioned educational ideas over creativeness, freedom in teaching methods and personal development of pupils. A major tax reform, which should simplify the tax system in such a way that income taxes will be reduced in favor of more environmental taxes, less tax deductions and higher taxes on real estate. The point of this is to make working more attractive and the hiring of service workers more attractive. This implies that the party is also opposed to the Liberal Conservative government's tax freeze, which prohibits any tax increases, but also changes of the taxation pattern. Internal conflicts. In 2007, some prominent members of the party criticized the strategy as being too left-leaning and depending too much on the Social Democrats. On the 7th of May 2007, MP Narsakada and MEP Anders Samuelsen announced that they had left the party to found the Economic Liberal New Alliance, later renamed the Liberal Alliance Party, along with conservative MEP Gert Seberg. During the following debate, the party first distanced itself from the Social Democrats, but after being criticized internally for that too, returned to an oppositional role. On the 6th of January 2009, MP Simon Emil Amitsbøl also left the party and founded a new party called Borgerligt Centrum, again as a center-right alternative. In June 2009 he left the Borgerligt Centrum and joined Liberal Alliance. 2007 elections. At a press release on 15 June 2007, it was announced that MP Margrethe Vestager would take over the leadership of the party after Marianne Jelved, and that the party would rethink its strategy and will now consider forming a coalition government with either the left or right side of Parliament. Vestager clarified during the run-up to the 2007 election that her party would only be supporting a government led by the Social Democrats. In the 2007 parliamentary elections, it received 5.1% of the vote and 9 out of 179 seats. 2011 elections. In the 2011 parliamentary election, in which it ran as part of the Red Bloc with the Social Democrats, Socialist People's Party, and Red-Green Alliance, it received 9.5% of the votes and went from 9 to 17 seats, almost doubling its share of votes and of seats in the Folketing. The party joined the new centre-left government led by incoming Prime Minister and Social Democrat leader Helle Thorning-Schmidt following the 2011 elections. Relationships to other parties. The Danish Social Liberal Party has traditionally kept itself in the centre of the political scale. Since the early 90s, though, it has primarily cooperated with the Social Democrats. Prominent members. Prime Ministers Carl Theodor Zallert, Prime Minister 1909, 1910 and 1913 to 1920. Erik Scavenius, Prime Minister 1942 to 1945. Hilmar Bornsgaard, Prime Minister 1968 to 1971, Trade Minister 1961 to 1964. Other ministers: Edward Brands, Finance Minister 1909, 1910 and 1913 to 1920. Christopher Crabb, Defence Minister 1909, 1910. P. Munch, Minister of the Interior 1909, 1910. Defence Minister 1913 to 1920. Foreign Minister 1929 to 1940. Poul Christensen, Agriculture Minister 1909, 1910. Overrode, Minister of the Interior 1913 to 1920. J. Hassing Jørgensen, Minister for Public Works 1913 to 1920. Christian Pedersen, Agriculture Minister 1913 to 1920. Bertel Dalgaard, Minister of the Interior 1929 to 1940, Minister for Economic Affairs and Minister for Nordic Cooperation 1957 to 1960. Jørgen Jørgensen, Education Minister 1935 to 1940, 1942 to 1942, 1957 to 1960, Minister of the Interior 1942 1943. A.M. Hansen, Education Minister 1945 to 1945. K. Gjeld Philip, Trade Minister 1957 to 1960, Finance Minister 1961 1961, Minister for Economic Affairs 1961 1962, Carl Skuyt, Agriculture Minister 1957 to 1964. A.C. Norman, Fishery Minister 1960 to 1964, Fishery Minister and Minister for Greenland 1968 to 1971. Helga Larsen, Education Minister 1968 to 1971. Lauge Dalgaard, Labour Minister 1968 to 1971. Jens Bilgrave Nielsen, Energy Minister 1988 to 1990. Christian Helveg Petersen, Education Minister 1961–1964, Minister of Culture 1968–1971. Niels Helveg Petersen, Minister for Economic Affairs 1988–1990, Foreign Minister 1993–2000. Ole Vig Jensen, Minister of Culture 1988–1990, Education Minister 1993–1998, Church Minister 1996–1998. Lone Daibar, Minister for the Environment 1988–1990. Aase Olesen, Social Minister 1988–1990. Eb Lundgaard, Minister of Culture 1996–1998. Elsebeth Gerner Nielsen, Minister of Culture 1998–2001. Marianne Jelft, Minister for Economic Affairs 1993–2001. Minister for Nordic Cooperation 1994–2001. Minister for Culture 2012–2015. Margrethe Vestager, Education Minister 1998–2001, Church Minister 1998–2000, Minister for Economic and Interior Affairs 2011–2014. Anita Bay Bundergaard, Minister for Development Cooperation 2000–2001. Johannes Lebeck, Church Minister 2000–2001. Christian Friesbach, Minister for Development Cooperation 2011–2013. Uffe Elbach, Minister of Culture 2011–2012. Morten Østergaard, Minister for Research, Innovation and Higher Education 2011–2014. Minister for Taxation 2014–2014. Minister for Economic and Interior Affairs 2014–2015. Martin Lidegaard, Minister for Climate and Energy 2011–2014. Minister for Foreign Affairs 2014–2015. Manu Sareen, Minister for Equality, Church and Nordic Cooperation 2011–2014. Minister for Integration and Social Affairs 2014–2015. Rasmus Helveg Petersen, Minister for Development Cooperation 2013–2014. Minister for Climate and Energy 2014–2015. Sophie Carsten Nielsen, Minister for Research, Innovation and Higher Education 2014–2015. Unofficial political leaders, identical with parliamentary group leaders in the Folketing except when the party was in government, and in certain periods there were forms of co-leadership. The time periods are disputable, but they may be argued to be as presented here. 1905–1928, Carl Theodor Zeller. 1928–1940, Peter Roschkan Munch. 1940–1960, Jørgen Jørgensen. 1960–1968, Carl Skuyt. 1968–1975, Hilmar Bornsgaard. 1975–1978, Svend Haugaard. 1978–1990, Niels Helveg Petersen. 1990–2007, Marianne Jelft. 2007–2014, Margrethe Vestager. 2014, Morten Østergaard. Co-leaders, 1905–1927, Edward Brands. 1905–1927, Overroad. 1905–1928, Peter Roschkan Munch. 1940–1945, Peter Roschkan Munch. 1940–1961, Bertel Dalgaard. 1961, Jørgen Jørgensen. 1961, Kjeld Philip. 1966–1968, Hilmar Bornsgaard. 1975, 1976, Hilmar Bornsgaard, 1977, 1978, Niels Helveg Petersen. References: Parliamentary group leaders in the Folketing, 1905 to 1909, Carl Theodor Zahler, 1909 1910, Overroad, 1910 to 1913, Carl Theodor Zahler, 1913 to 1916, Thorvald Povelsen, 1916 to 1920, Carl Slengruk, 1920 to 1928, Carl Theodor Zahler, 1928 1929, Peter Roschkan Munch, 1929 to 1934, Niels Fredriksson, 1930 for 1935, Jørgen Jørgensen, 1935 to 1945, Axel Marius Hansen, 1945 to 1957, Jørgen Jørgensen, 1957 to 1961, Aage Fof, 1962 to 1964, Jacob Kierkegaard, 1964 to 1968, Carl Scheidt, 1968 to 1970, Bernhard Bornsgaard, 1971, 1971, Sven Haugaard, 1971 to 1975, Hilmar Bornsgaard, 1975 to 1978, Sven Haugaard, 1978 to 1988, Niels Helveg Petersen, 1988 to 1993, Marianne Jelved, 1993 1994, Jens Bilgrave Nielsen, 1994 to 2000, Jorgen Astrup, 2000-2001, Elizabeth Arnold, 2001 to 2007, Marianne Jelved, 2007 to 2011, Margrethe Vestager, 2011-2012, Marianne Jelved, 2012 to 2014, Sophie Karsten Nielsen, 2014 to 2014, Christian Friesbach, 2014-2015, Camilla Herzim, 2015, Morten Ostergaard. References: Party Chairman 1905 to 1915, Jørgen Halv, 1915 to 1920, Christian Dofborg Jensen, 1920 to 1922, Anders Larsen, 1922 to 1924, Erik Scavenius, 1924 to 1929, Niels Peter Andresen, 1929 to 1936, Martin Sorensen, 1936-1937, N.C. Andersen, 1937 to 1960, Hans Jeppesen, 1960 to 1964, Helge Pedersen, 1964 to 1971, Soren Bjerregaard, 1971 to 1974, Asger Baunsbach Jensen, 1974 to 1976, Gunnar Skoff Andersen, 1976 to 1978, Christian Helveg Petersen, 1978 to 1991, Thorkild Moller, 1991 to 1993, Greth Eriksson, 1993 to 1997, Margrethe Vestager, 1997 to 2000, Johannes Lebeck, 2000-2001, Lone Lochlin, 2001 to 2009, Soren Bald, 2009 to 2015, Klaus Fransen, 2015, Sven Thorhauge. References: Election results.